What's up, guys? It's Jairo Morales, personal trainer for The Grind Fitness. Here today we're going to interview Olivia Shand. She is a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Big supporter for the women's movement here in Miami. I used to train with her a few years back, and now she trains here at Carlson, Gracie, Miami. Buiu is the head instructor here. So hopefully you enjoy. Thanks for listening. What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Grind Fitness. It's Jairo Morales, one of the trainers here. I'm here interviewing Olivia Shand at Buiu School here in Miami. It's classified as Miami, or is it Kendall? Classified as Miami? It's not Kendall, right?
It's both.
A little bit of both. So I used to train with Olivia at Fight Sports when she was a blue belt, I think. Did you get your purple from Fight Sports? And then when did you leave Fight Sports?
March 2 years ago.
Okay, and then you went directly here?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you come across this place?
Well, I had known Buiu for a long time, since I was white belt, since I started competing.
Okay. How come that's funny. I didn't even know him until I started you posting stuff about him.
He held a women's event here. I would think it was still a white belt, but he's like the main coordinator for all the Miami Open tournaments.
Okay.
And just from the competition scene and stuff, I already had a relationship with him and his students. I would come here and visit sometimes.
Okay.
I had friends here, and he was always super supportive. The problem is that this school was really far west, and back then when I trained at Fight Sports, I was working downtown Miami at the Wilson campus.
So
if you know Miami, trying to drive west in the afternoon to come train will take you like hours and hours.
Sucks.
So like logistically, I just couldn't
come out here to train
here. Yeah, but then the college gave me a full-time spot in Homestead, so I was like,
you're like, I'm out. So that's what you do for a living outside of jiu-jitsu. You don't do jiu-jitsu full time. Jiu-jitsu is like the love.
Jiu-jitsu is full time. It's just not as full time as I would like.
So you're a professor though, right?
Yeah, I teach math at Miami-Dade.
Okay. I remember asking you one time how you get better at training, and you were like, I just treat it as if I'm in school, you know?
Yeah.
Like you approach it like math.
We are all students of the art, right? You go to class, you got to take notes. Write stuff down, go back over your notes, consolidate.
I feel like, at least at my point now, I feel like I'm on information overload now. Like I feel like I'm like, because I train at Marcelo's and there's like 7 black belts to teach. So it's not like one person like teaching like a segmental thing. It's like every instructor is like at a different pace and it's a different structure of class. So I feel like I'm learning so much that to the point where I'm not like
this is where the studying part comes in. So yeah. You don't just go to class and take notes and then never look at your notes.
Right.
You have to go back over your notes and consolidate and find what goes together and organize and sort, like top position, bottom position, or however you want to organize your notes, and then go back over and study them, and that's drilling.
Yeah.
So I have lists of things to drill, and the list just gets longer. Like I drill 2 things, and I put 4 more things on the list.
Yeah, but that's your particular mindset. Because I've tried that, and it's not easy coming up with that. Like I was drilling with one guy like 2 to 4 times a week, and we started basically taking like it's hard to write like the technique that you're doing out. Like it's different than like seeing it, but actually kind of putting it on paper.
It helps too.
100% it does, but it's difficult because when you know, and he would just. You know, he's a student too. He was getting his, I think his master's, or it might have been PhD in physical therapy. And so he's always been a student, and he's just like, yo, it's hard to put it into words consistently. And he was on information overload too, to where we were learning so much that we both were like, yo, we need a timeout. We need to kind of take a step back and stop like drilling the new stuff. Let's just go back too much worth and just kind of repeat the same stuff over and over. And Gianni Grippo trains with us too, and I've noticed that too. He even does that, like when he trains or when he drills, because that's the majority of his training is drilling. Like he trains only like particular classes that he trains at Marcelo's, and he just drills to death. But it's like the same like 4 to like maybe 10 positions, just over and over and over and over with different body frames and different sizes, different belt levels, so that he can kind of feel it out on how it works and how effective it is. That's where I hopefully can get to here soon. So anyway, the reason why I'm interviewing is because you kind of pushing like the girl thing here, the female kind of jiu-jitsu, and it's still kind of growing, but I mean, when you were blue belt, there was only like, I would say like maybe 5 or 6 women. There wasn't that many women at fight sports, you know. And before I left fight sports, it kind of, I would say, like tripled or quadrupled in size, and it's like slowly kind of gaining momentum.
Yeah.
And you didn't start the jiu-jitsu thing, right?
No, Teresia started it.
Who's that? Who's that?
You remember Teresia?
No.
She was a blue belt. Back then, Heather was purple belt.
Okay.
She used to train with us. She had the original idea, and her and Heather teamed up because Heather was purple belt. So we were like, you teach the highest belt. She started the original events. They named it after Heather. She calls herself Jiu Jitsu Gypsy.
So wait a minute. So this was not like, this is basically her just going around and putting women together, and she was the one teaching whatever instruction she wanted to teach? Or is it just like an open mat type of thing?
It's evolved over time. In the beginning, it was Heather teaching or some guest instructor, the highest belt girl at that school, if there was a higher belt, or they would ask a black belt to come and teach, or depending on who it was, like people we knew, ask them to teach if we were using their school and like we already knew them, then ask them to show something. So there may have been like the school instructor, black belt guy teaching, but then it was
just all women.
Always at a different school, any girl, any age, any affiliation, just to get a bunch of girls together to train, partly so that we had different, I think originally it was so that we had different female training partners. It was the same girls always training together, and then it becomes redundant, you know, like you know what each other are gonna do, everything. There's no there's no additional learning variation. So especially with such a small group within each gym, you know, it's I can imagine it's like the super big guys on the guy level. It's like the super big guys or the super small guys. There's only so many guys that you can kind of roll with at that level, where you're limited on who you can roll with. Either you're getting smashed or you're doing the smashing, and it's like you don't really learn that way. But now it's turned into like a big thing now. Like how many women are showing up to the thing? I remember you would post pictures. Yeah, you would post pictures a few years back, and it was like 5 or 6, like 10 people, 10. Now it's turned into like the last picture you did, it was like 30 or something like that. Yeah, we have like 20 to 40 regularly, and then we have some bigger events that have like 60, 70, 80 girls.
No way.
Yeah.
And
it kind of evolved into more of a social event, so that girls from different schools can socialize with each other and get to know each other on a personal level, like with no competitive vibe whatsoever.
Right.
And just hang out and talk and, you know, laugh and giggle like girls do, and chat about girl stuff and get to know each other.
Yeah.
Outside of like, hey, what's up at a tournament, and that's it. You know, they spend more time together. It's like quality time.
Yeah, there's some there's a similar, I guess, organization that's doing that in New York too. And you see
there's a bunch of them all over. Girls and Geese, of course, is the biggest. They're national. There's a group in North Florida, Pretty Dangerous. Last year in April, we did a...
It's a catchy name, Pretty Dangerous.
Pretty Dangerous.
It's like a double entendre. I like that.
Melissa Lawson runs that. We did a joint event with her last April. We just decided, like, let's do something together and try to make it big. And it was in Melbourne, like trying to meet in the middle. And it was huge. And then we agreed we're going to do one every year. So we have another one in April, same weekend as the Orlando Open. So every April there should be like a huge statewide. We want to meet in the middle so we can get like the Jacksonville girls, everybody in between.
That's great. Maybe we should do something like that. Actually, it would be good to bring him down for that. If it's like a really large event for that, to kind of push the woman thing. I think it's great, to be honest with you. At least with me, like I'm not the smallest guy, and I've noticed now that like rolling with women is actually when they give me permission because of my size. When I'm kind of welcome into their realm, it's kind of like when you go up with like the brown and the black belt, you know, you have to be kind of like welcome into their rolling partners. You learn a lot more, you know. It's because it's like the size difference. You have to be really mindful how you move, and you know, and you're also not trying to like power your way through things. And it's at least for me, I learned more from rolling with women, just as much as I learned from rolling with like an experienced black belt. Because an experienced black belt allows you to move, because the gap between what you know and what they know is so large that it doesn't make sense for them to kind of like run over you. And the same thing with women, at least for me, on the opposite spectrum, where I feel when I roll with women, it's like I'm so much larger than most women. that it doesn't benefit anybody for me to just run over them. So it's like I have to kind of be mindful of my own personal technique and my own size and my body and how I move my weight around. So, because you can accidentally hurt them. I remember you telling me that. Was it you that told me that one time?
I'm sure it was.
No, it was actually. I think it was Bethany. Bethany told me one time that from Fight Sports. Told me one time, she's like, yeah, as women we have to kind of be picky who we roll with, because whether you're trying to or not, you can really hurt me.
Hurt me by accident.
Yeah, by
I had
accident.
my ribs broken just from somebody passing too hard. Had my wrist sprained just from like someone.
You have so many injuries.
Sprained my wrist from someone just squeezing too hard in nogi, like just that grip, and they squeeze and it popped.
Wow, you've had a ton of injuries. Go through your injuries.
Oh.
You sprained both knees. You sprained.
Yeah, I blew out my knee twice. Both AC joints are separated. This one had bone spurs. I had to go in and shave it down. How this one's acting up, and they're saying it's likely to develop bone spurs also. Bulging disc in my neck, my lower back, both wrists, both ankles, broken fingers, broken toes, broke my nose, broken ribs, black eye.
You broke your nose?
Yeah.
How'd you break your nose? I'm assuming no gi.
Getting thrown.
Yeah.
I got headbutted.
You got headbutted unintentionally. Wow. Why so many injuries? You think it's just you're built that way? You're injury prone.
I don't drink milk. I don't.
It's actually, you should drink milk. Actually, milk is bad for you.
I know. I mean, I have no explanation. I do strength training. I take supplements. I have very good nutrition.
I remember you're pretty regimented, no?
Yeah.
I mean, your mind works like that. If you do math, I'm pretty sure that you're pretty disciplined on everything that you do. Like, yeah, exactly. You put that silly smile because you're like a little bit crazy about it. Like, I'm sure that you have like the same meal at the same time every single day, same dinner time, same everything. Very regimented on your schedule with everything that you do. Like, how many times a week do you train with your trainer?
For strength training,
Yeah.
3 times.
3 times a week.
Sometimes only twice, like if I'm traveling and stuff. But I always try to get 3.
And what are you doing for strength training? Like, what is it like?
I work with David Perez. It's a DLP training. He's a master personal trainer, but he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and he knows about like what we go through and what I need and how athletes compete, and he can work with all my injuries and adapt stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to design a program myself, actually for myself, and then to try to replicate it for people, because it's like now it's like there's a difference between like weightlifting for hypertrophy and weightlifting for jiu-jitsu. So the problem with weightlifting for hypertrophy, where you're trying to gain muscle, is that it's too fatiguing on the muscle, and so that when you come to roll, you're more injury prone. You know, I've had injuries like that because I'll be like, oh, my chest is whatever, or my arm is like, I can feel my arm feeling weak, where I strain my elbow, and it's just because I'm sore from lifting. So I had to kind of change how I do things. Like now I've integrated yoga quite a bit. Yoga's actually, as a big guy and as a male, you're like, I've rolled with you before, you're kind of naturally very limber. But it's difficult. It's helped me out quite a bit actually doing a yoga for jiu-jitsu. It makes me comfortable in uncomfortable situations. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, flexibility training. Yeah.
Well, now I'm into something else. It's called functional range conditioning, which is like mobility training. So it's kind of like, think of it like physical therapy, but in a workout setting. And it's actually pretty cool. It works on like actually helping you, like being able to move in like really compromising positions, and it kind of translates over very well to jiu-jitsu. And apparently one of the guys, one of the instructors that got me into it, told me that one of the master trainers for this certification is actually a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I was like, oh, okay, well, obviously there's some correlation there. I guarantee you somebody there was like, we got to come up with something that helps jiu-jitsu people. How'd you get into jiu-jitsu?
I just kind of fell into it. I never did any martial arts growing up. I honestly I didn't consider myself athletic. I played softball in high school. I was horrible. Like, horrible. I think I played basketball in middle school. There was like A, B, C team, and then like the participation team. That's the team I was on.
So you didn't play any type of sports?
No, I was into water sports. I like to go surfing,
Yeah, but that's sport.
kayaking.
That's a sport. Come on.
I mean, I didn't think I was
Yeah.
I never thought I was athletic, or I never knew anything about martial arts. So I just kind of fell into it, but it was love at first armbar.
Sure. How many times have you said that? That was a little catchy little quote.
It's true. Like, that was the first thing I learned. It was an armbar.
Look, even famous, the camera guy's laughing at that one.
I went to college. I always loved learning. I like mental challenges.
Right.
I find it interesting. If something is hard, I find it interesting. Things that are easy become boring too quickly.
Yeah, I think that's everybody.
Something that's challenging is more attractive to me. Like, let me try and figure it out. Let me see if I can do this.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Jiu-jitsu is the only thing I've ever found that's both mentally and physically challenging at the same time. Like, it's simultaneous, your brain and your body.
I call it chess with your body.
Yeah,
so
I love to play chess.
Yeah, probably. Chess. That's what I think about it, because I feel like the better you get at it, the better players you play. So no matter how good you get, there's always somebody. Yeah. There's a better player that has a different strategy. It's all the same moves. Everyone knows.
But it's the technique and the thought behind it, like the higher level thinking required to elevate your level to be able to beat higher level people.
Yeah.
So jiu-jitsu is the same thing, but then it's the physical application of that.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm small and I'm not strong compared to the average person, especially the average man. So to be able to use technique and leverage and dominate positions and control guys that are bigger and stronger than me, that's super powerful.
Feels good too, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. I like it too.
Not injured.
I'm in that. I'm hopefully I'm slowly climbing up where it feels good to like have the skill level where you don't feel like you're working hard and you're able to kind of move around. You're like, it feels good. There's like a sense of gratification where you're like, wow, this feels good to be able to kind of like, I can kind of do whatever I want here.
Yeah, but it's still only sometimes.
Of course.
Like today, everyone's bigger, everyone's stronger, almost everyone's higher belt. So.
Yeah, I have the same problem at Marcelo's. You think
you
think you're good, and then
we have so many higher belts.
You just get run over, and then you're like, yeah, I'm not that good. So what do you think? How do you think you're going to change jiu-jitsu? Like, what's your goal here with jiu-jitsu? I feel like you've always approached it like not just for yourself. Like I always feel like I remember you helping out Martha, the blue belt, and I think it's kind of more like you're trying to spread it. But what is it you're trying to do?
About changing jiu-jitsu, but just contributing in some way to the growth of the community itself. The women's aspect is personal for me, I need female training partners. I need female opponents when I go to competitions. The higher rank I get, like I have one or two girls to fight, sometimes no one. I have to do the open class, that's my only option, and I have to fight huge girls.
Yeah, that's one thing that I noticed too. That does suck once you start climbing up the belt level.
There's just not that many. So it's been growing, but it takes time. So, in jiu-jitsu, across different teams and different schools, there's politics. This person doesn't like that person. This school doesn't let their students train anywhere else. You can train at open mat, but not at that school, and all those.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember I actually ran into that until my first school. I remember he gave me the black belt that owned the gym. He gave me like this negative vibe. I'm like in my mind, I was like, dude.
Not everybody's like that. Yeah. And I think people have eased up on that old school mentality. Like, you train here, you only train here.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to train anywhere else. So not everybody is like that. But when the Gypsies started, we wanted to supersede that. That was part of Teresia and Heather's original idea, to have different female training partners, so that when we compete against women. So we need to train with different women, and then that we need solidarity that supersedes any kind of politics, because we are the minority. We need to stick together so that we can grow.
We definitely got to talk. It would be great to do that. The one that you were talking about, the April something. I'm gonna have to
come
talk
on
to
down. We need a videographer.
Well, the whole idea would be for us to kind of like talk to, the people that are running it. And you were talking about the girl that does
Melissa.
it up, Melissa, and kind of.
It's like a North meets South. All the girls get together. Last year we had like 70 girls, and it was kind of impromptu.
That's awesome.
So
we're definitely going to do that.
Now we're promoting it legit. Like we're planning it a year in advance. We have a raffle. We give away stuff, gis and all kinds of stuff. It'll be at Fabines. We have female black belts from Florida teaching.
Cool.
So it should be bigger this year.
That's awesome. We're definitely going to talk. We're definitely going to do that. Cool. All right. Anything else you want to add? No? Questions for me? No? Thanks for watching, guys. Awesome, guys. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for our next episode. Meanwhile, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. At the bottom, you're going to see all the social media links for both Carlson, Gracie, Miami, as well as Olivia. Probably going to do another event with her at the end of April or the middle of April. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening.